Welcome to another episode of the Love Can't Wait show. I'm your host, Sharp Game. So like and share this episode. So today, man, I'm gonna talk about how to get out the friend zone, and I'm gonna talk about how I approach online dating compared to most people that I've been hearing about on, especially on the internet. And I got a couple messages over the weekend, which was a holiday weekend in the United States of America. You know, but regardless if you live in the United States of America or you live overseas, this message can still apply to you. I get a lot of messages, emails talking about how to get out the friend zone, why some woman got them in the friend zone. Uh, some guys want to be friends with females, which to me that doesn't make any sense. To me, I never wanted to be friends with a woman. Um, that's just that's not something that I plan to do. Now, the only way, or should I say, the only reason why I would accept a woman being a friend is really for two reasons. Either I'm just not interested, or maybe she's crazy as cat shit. Maybe I'm probably thinking this shit ain't gonna work, even if we was to try to make something happen. So it's probably best for us to keep things the way it is. Hands off, basically. And then the second thing is, I'm just ain't attracted to her. Really, that's it. I ain't attracted to her. I don't like how she look. I mean, I don't like how she dress. I don't like how she talk. She does things to turn me off. So those are really the two reasons, really. You know what I'm saying? The first reason, and there's another reason. If we want to do some business together, that's like the exception to the rule. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know haven't met a lot of women where I want to do some business together. You know, and the reason why I say that that's like the exception to the rule, because a lot of women want to do business together and they want to have a personal relationship at the same time, and I don't mix the two, right? That's why I say that's the exception to the rule. It's like I don't. Most women, they will do it. They'll try it, but I mean, I don't mix those relationships. I don't even attempt to have the business relationships very often. It's very rare that I meet a woman and I say, "Hey, I want to be friends with her because she seems like she'd be a good business partner." It's very, very rare. It's been a long time since I met anyone like that. But anyways, so when I don't approach a woman under the assumption that, hey, I just want to be friends. No, when I approach a woman, in my mind, I'm trying to hit. Yeah, I'm trying to hit it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying I'm trying to hit it like the same day, but in my mind, okay, I'm trying to get her attention. I'm trying to get to know her as quick as possible. That way I know if I want to get her phone number or not, or exchange information or not. Because I'm trying to get to know her better after today. And eventually I'm trying to hit it. That's my thinking. I think that's most guys thinking, if we're really honest. Now, I know it might not sound good to a woman, but that's just the reality. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of women think the same way, but they probably won't come out and say it that way. They probably think, oh, okay, I would like to wine him and dine him, or I like to take him home or whatever. Or, you know, but it's the same thing. They just choose different wording, you know. But I ain't trying to be her friend. No, you know. And see, the thing with a lot of guys, in order to end up in a woman's friend zone, you had to do something. In most cases, the guy would have done something to fall in the friend zone. You know what I'm saying? It usually doesn't happen, you know, by itself. You know, he usually has to do something to end up there. And, you know, it could be anything too, by the way. It could have maybe something he said, or maybe something he didn't do, or maybe she tried to make a pass at him, he didn't get it. So she might have threw him in the friend zone just because of that, you know, or maybe she don't like how he dressed. I mean, it could be anything, a multiple thing, different things, you know. And then you got some guys that want to be friends with a woman because they're under the assumption that eventually he'll win her over and he'll get some. You know, I mean, this and women know if a guy is kind of bullshitting too. Well, the women know if a guy is kind of trying to win her over, and they know, and that's even more of a reason why she won't give you none. If you take that approach, you know what I'm saying. But there's a lot of guys out. That's manipulation, by the way. When a guy says he wants to be friends with a woman, he'll hang out with her, go to the mall with her, go to the club with her, and he'll do everything her girlfriends would do. Cause that's my girl, man. That's my wing girl. Come on, man. You know, come on. You know, that's manipulation, man. You know. So women, look, in most cases, if you're talking to a woman or over a long period of time, she knows where you stand. She knows if you like her or dislike her. Well, she might not necessarily know if where you stand, but if you ask her, hey, if you pull your pants down, do you think your friend would put it in you? She'll say yes or no. She would know how to answer that question for sure. You know what I'm saying? She would know. She might play dumb and act like, well, I don't know if we ever be a girlfriend, boyfriend, or she might be confused about that part. But if you say, hey, if you pulled your pants down from behind and your old buddy was standing behind you, you think he would get excited? You know what I'm saying? She know the answer to that question. She wouldn't be like, I don't know. She would know exactly. It'll be either yes or no. And in most cases, it would be a yes, because a lot of these guys are game, goofy nerds are waiting around because in his mind, he thinks, well, I'm going to win her over one day, you know. And then you have these other guys at the job where you have what they call it, you know, have friends at the job or whatever, you know, and that's kind of game, goofy and silly too, you know. When they have a relationship at the job, outside the job, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic that plays out on a lot of these jobs, man. I'm telling you. Some of the stuff that happen on these jobs, you'd be blown the fuck away if you really knew. You know what I'm saying? Really. But hey, check this out. There's a way to get out the friend zone that I found that works. And it's either gonna be a hell yeah or hell no to this question. That girl that that says, oh, y'all friends and all this, and you should ask your friend girl this and that or whatever. Say, hey, why don't you introduce me to some of your friends? Since we're all friends, right? Introduce me to some of your friends. She gonna be you say hell yeah or hell no. That's what it's gonna be. And if she say hell no, that friendship y'all got is gonna be over. It's gonna be over. You know what I'm saying? If the answer is hell no, and y'all ain't gonna have normal friendship after that. Because what happens is in her mind, you crossing the boundaries. You crossing the friendship boundaries by talking to her friend. Even though, I don't see anything nothing wrong with it because, hey, we ain't got nothing going on. So why not hook me up with one of her friends? That makes sense to me, but it don't make sense to her. A lot of these women, you know why? Because they're being selfish. Because she knows that the friendship y'all got is on some bullshit. They don't have no foundation. The shit ain't real. And she knows that you being her friend was based on some manipulation type bullshit in the first place. It's not real. So that's why a woman would basically end all friendship and all ties with you if you were to ask to be introduced to her friend. Now, if she said yes, oh, that's cool in the game. If she said yes, that means she really ain't attracted to you at all. You know what I'm saying? So, and she probably don't give a shit about her friends either. You know what I'm saying? That's what that really means. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time, she really ain't attracted to you, and she really don't give a damn about her so-called quote friends. That's how that usually go. So that's how you get out. That's what I found. That's how you get out the friend zone. But it's either a hell yeah or hell no. If you want to take that route, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know why the hell you would care anyway if it was a hell no. Because why would you want to be with friends with a woman in the first place? What's the benefit? You know what I'm saying? Where is the benefit of hanging around a woman all day long? There's some women that are cool as hell to be around, but that ain't the majority, and that ain't common. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I go hang out with one of my buddies, if I want to do that shit, I don't need no more friends. I have enough. You know what I'm saying? But hey, let's move on. So I get a lot of questions about online dating. And what I always say is this. People ask me, well, when it comes to meeting, because I got a new book out, Love at First Click on Amazon.com. And I highly recommend you go get that book on Amazon.com. It's a bestseller. We're killing the game with that. It's probably my best book so far. 500 pages a game. So some of the questions I get is, which is a good question, by the way, say, how far should they go as far as miles when it comes to meeting somebody online? They say, how far should you go as far as miles? Is it meeting somebody in Australia too long, or Japan too far, or you know what I'm saying? I said, oh yeah, that's a good one. So when it comes to meeting people like across the world, it ain't but so far I'm gonna go. I would say if I have to travel more than 10 hours, that's probably too far for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if I have to travel 10 hours to meet somebody on a plane, that's probably too far for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I get from, like, say, here to Dubai, that's probably too far for me to meet somebody. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they're willing to meet me somewhere in between, that's cool in the game. But I'm not traveling on 24 hours with layovers and all that shit to meet anybody. That's too far for me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even travel that far on a vacation. Shit. I think the most I traveled was 12 hours straight to Japan. And even that shit is hard, you know, on me today. That shit takes a lot out of me. But that's you know, I ain't gonna go no more than 10 hours. I mean, nonstop flight. That's the most the longest I would go today. You know what I'm saying? Now you might every man and woman has to answer for themselves. How far are you willing to go to meet somebody? You know, now it's one thing to meet somebody, get in your car and drive. You know, that is the biggest thing is time. You know, driving, that's the biggest thing is time. And getting some gas, putting some gas in your car. Right? I mean, that's not so bad. You know what I'm saying? But when you traveling, when you taking a plane to see somebody, you have to have some money. That you have to have some money. Plane flights are not cheap. You know, sometimes you might get good deals, but usually when you fly overseas, it's not cheap. Yeah, hotels, it's not cheap. Most places. So you have to have more money when you fly and fly overseas versus you meeting somebody in the country and you just getting in your car, getting some gas, pumping some gas, and you hit the road. You know what I'm saying? It's much simple to meet somebody that way. You know what I'm saying? But I would recommend people meet people where they at in their city or in their town or in the surrounding areas or in the state. Because there's some states that are small. You know what I'm saying? So I would say it's probably best to focus on the state where you live. That's what I would say. You know what I'm saying? Because it's much easier that way, in my opinion. You know? Yeah. That would be my main focus. Focus on where you at, your state, your city, your town, you know. Now, when it comes to talking to people from other countries, I don't really put too much stock into it until proven otherwise. Until the other person has to show me that they're really serious about meeting. And then, okay, you know, then I'll take it serious. But other than that, it's probably your best bet to focus on what's local, your town, your city, your state. You know what I'm saying? And plus, it's cheaper. Let's just be honest, and it's less time. You know, I mean, you can get in your car and drive in an hour or two. That ain't nothing. Or a couple minutes. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? But if you got to go to the airport and get on a plane and fly 4, 8, 10 hours, it'd be time consuming, and it can be costly depending on where you're flying to. You know what I'm saying? And plus, there's some risks involved. You know, when you meet somebody the first time, you might not like them. I mean, anything could happen. You might not like how they smell. You might not like how they dress. You might not like the vibe might be off. You know what I'm saying? Because people it's easy to be it's easy to manipulate people online and on the phone because you don't get to see them all the time. I mean, you talk to them over the phone, yeah, but you can kind of you can't see everything. You can't feel Yeah, you can feel a little bit, but it's just you don't. That's where the risk comes in at, because you're not going to really know what you really need to know until you meet this person for the first time, regardless of how long y'all been chatting and talking over the telephone. Regardless of how many times y'all FaceTime, you ain't going to really know for sure until you meet this person. And that's just what it is. See, online, people people are good at manipulating people with their profiles. So I'll give you an example. You have women that will take close up, they'll take selfie pictures through the whole profile, just selfie pictures, close ups, right? But I'm like, how come you don't take a picture of your entire body? You know why? Because she's too big. She's a big girl. She's insecure. That's why she don't want to show her whole body. She doesn't like how she looks. So she'll just take close-ups, right? Now, most guys probably don't really think much of it. You know what I'm saying? Because they say, oh, she looks good in the face or whatever. But she might be fucking 200-300 pounds and weight and at 5'4", some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk to her over the phone, maybe she'll tell you how much she weighs, maybe she won't. If you don't ask, she probably won't tell. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all are planning to meet up, and when she show up, she's 280 pounds at 5'2", and you upset because you feel like you've been betrayed. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, people don't tell everything. People aren't as honest as you may think online. And if you don't ask the right questions, you probably won't get an answer. You know what I'm saying? And you might not like a whole bunch of things about her and tell y'all me. You might not like how she smell. You might not like how she talk, how she carry herself, or the vibe might be off, the energy might be off. She might be nervous. You might be nervous. You might not like how she eat at the table. If y'all was to go eating something like that, or she might drink too much. You just don't know. Or she might smoke too much. Man, you probably didn't ask if she drink. Yeah, I don't drink. So, but at the same time, I don't like being around a girl that's a drunk or alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't ask these questions, you won't know. You probably didn't ask her where she was from versus where she lived. She might not live where she was born and raised at. You know what I'm saying? You might have didn't ask how many kids she had because you were so excited, how she presented herself online. You forgot to ask her how many kids she had. Turns out she got 4 kids. And she ain't never been married. And you be like, God damn, how come you didn't tell me that before we decided to meet up? She probably, oh, you didn't ask. And she's right, you didn't ask. So you have to ask these questions before y'all meet up. You have to vet these men and women that you meet online. You can't just think that they're going to volunteer information. It usually doesn't happen like that. No, it usually doesn't happen like that. You usually, if you want to know, you usually have to ask. Usually. But, that's usually how it goes. But, and then there's pros and cons of being online, of course, just like I said. But you can't see body language when you're talking to somebody over the phone. You don't see the body language. You can only see that in person. You know, people can perpetrate over telephone all day long. They can chat perpetrating all day long. But in person, they're not gonna be able to front no more. When you meet him or her in person, that's when the rubber meets the road. Shit get real. You're gonna find out if this person likes you for real. Because maybe y'all been chatting 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 12, I don't know, 2 years, whatever. But when y'all meet each other for the first time, that's when you're gonna know for sure if this is somebody that you can see yourself being around for the long term. 1000%. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of where she from, her upbringing, the country, the language, and shit. When you first meet somebody in person, that's when you gonna know for sure. Is this somebody that I can see myself being around for the long term? It's either gonna be a yes or no. If there's any doubts, that means no. If there's too many questions you don't have answers to, maybe he or she don't want to talk about something, that means the answer is no. There should be no doubts. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. If y'all been chatting and talking for 6, 12, 2 years, and y'all plan to meet up, it's time to put everything on the table at that point. Otherwise, why you meet up with this person after 2 years? Well, it don't even make no sense. It's not like, I mean, I can see if this is some local meetup or some type of shit. Y'all like 45 minutes, an hour or two away. But no, you flying fucking from another country. 4 hours, 6 hours away. And you ain't gonna ask the tough questions? Come on, man. Well, what are we doing? This is a waste of time. You ain't gonna ask no tough questions? After she spent money, you spent money and time? No. I'm going straight to the jugular. I'm asking all the tough questions. And especially if y'all spend a couple days together. Because if she flying 4, 6 hours, 10 hours, or maybe longer, y'all gonna be spending a couple days together. And what's gonna happen? If y'all hit it off, great. You know, y'all get to smashing and having all this fun. Fantastic. That's exactly what you want to happen. You want her to be all over you. You want, that's exactly what you want. That's the perfect situation to happen. The same person that you've been chatting with all this time and talking over the telephone, that's the same person that showed up in person. She's all over you, kissing you, whatever. That's perfect. However, what if the opposite happens? What if she or he shows up, they're standoffish, they acting like they don't know who you are, you brand new, they don't like, they acting like they ain't really feeling you like that. Shit go left. Shit went left. You know what I'm saying? The next day, she's talking about catching an early flight back home. You know what I'm saying? That happens. And if that does happen, that's okay. It just didn't work out. It happens. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe she didn't leave. She didn't leave early. Or he didn't leave early. Maybe but when it was time to leave, the day of, or or something like that, or maybe on the same day, Y'all just decided that y'all ain't for each other. That happens too. Because maybe he or she gave it a chance. Maybe y'all don't vibe, but y'all gave it a chance. You can't force it, and it just didn't work out. And that's okay too. That's okay too. You know what I'm saying? And y'all decided, hey, call a spade, and no bad blood. Just move on and meet somebody else and enjoy your life. Y'all tried after, I don't know, regardless of how long it's been, 6 months, y'all been chatting probably 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, whatever. But it didn't work out. Y'all morals probably is not in alignment. Maybe y'all bump heads on a few things. Maybe y'all don't see family the same. Maybe your focus is family, her focus is lifestyle. Who knows? But whatever the situation was, it just didn't work out. And it happens. It's okay. Don't feel bad. Everybody's not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But always remember, you're not going to 100% know for sure if this is somebody you really could see yourself with in the long term until you all meet in person. That's when shit is going to get real. And check this out. No woman is going to fly 4, 6, 10 hours for bullshit. She knows, and more than likely, if a woman flies from another country to see you long distance, she kind of knows, okay, this guy, he's kind of serious. So if she ain't serious, she ain't going to even play around. She not even going to show up. She ain't even waste your time. She not going to waste her time either. You know what I'm saying? And see, and another thing, and I'm in this episode. A lot of times, a lot of women that live in other countries, they can't get a visa. And see, there's in a lot of these countries, they have, in order to get a visa, first you got to do lab work, and that's probably going to scare the majority of women away right there. When it's time to do that lab work, because a lot of them might feel like they can't pass the examination. They might feel like they got some shit that they can't get rid of. So that's going to scare the majority of women away right there once they find out they got to do some lab work. Now, they don't have to always do this in all countries, but I'm going to say a good 40, 50% of countries that come to America, they're required to do some type of lab work, either blood work or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be something like that. Lab work or piss test or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly everything they check for, but it's some type of lab work that's required before they even apply for a visa. You know what I'm saying? And the visa is a couple $100 in most cases or less. But just the lab work that's going to take a few, I'm going to say probably the majority of women out right there. They can start getting nervous when they find out they got to go to the lab. You know, just the visa that's kind of scary for most of them because they feel like they can't get one. And when you tell them, hey, you got to do the lab work first, they'll be like, oh, God. You know, because a lot of them are laying up with so many guys, unfortunately. So they be nervous. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no doubt. So that's why a woman is not going to play around like that. Because she's spending money and time coming to see you, and you spending money too, meeting up with her. So in her mind, if you approach her and say, hey, when's your next vacation? she kind of know, okay, this guy, he's kind of want to meet me at some point. You know what I'm saying? Or you might ask her, what are your holidays? What holidays do you get off? Most of the time, a lot of women, they're not stupid. They can kind of get the head, okay, he kind of asking what days I have off. He even wants to talk to me or wants to meet up with me to get to know me much better or whatever. So if you start saying something like, hey, is it possible that we could meet on the days that you off on holidays? You're going to even say yes or no. If she says no, 9 times out of 10, she probably feels like she don't really want to go through the lab work and applying for the visa and all that stuff. And she probably don't got the money. A lot of these girls are broke. She probably feel like she can't come up with the money. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these girls ain't got it like that. So that's usually how it go. That's usually how it go, man. But if she does what she needs to do to get the visa and everything and gets her flight, that's when you know she's serious. That's when you know she's going to come correct. That's when you know, she probably look at me like, okay, I can be with this dude one day. You know what I'm saying? Now, one dude sent me an email saying he sends this girl a message on WhatsApp, but she doesn't. He feels like she takes too long to get back to him. And I'm like, yo, bro, she probably got another dude, or she got a roster of dudes. But if you've been talking to this girl over the telephone or chatting for, he said, a year, and she's still responding, well, she's interested. That's a good sign. But she got, these girls, they work jobs, and she probably got dudes. You ain't the only guy. And that's okay. Especially if she in some of these African countries. I mean, they got dudes running. She probably got a roster of dudes. You know what I'm saying? This ain't 1987 where women deal with one guy at a time. No, them days is over. No, I'm not saying that it can't. There's aren't women over here that wouldn't deal with one guy, but most of the time, no. That usually don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? But if I was doing online dating, I would mainly focus on where I live and my state, my city. Anything outside of that, I'll take it with a grain of salt until proven otherwise. That's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? You might see it different, and that's your prerogative. Nothing wrong with that. And like I said, I got a best-selling book, Love at First Click, on Amazon.com, where I go into details talking about how I've been able to meet thousands of women online at this point. So share this episode. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. Peace. All right. Just got the call, it's going down tonight. It's a lot of goodbyes here tonight, but then I saw the stallion that I like. Here from Cali, I live in the valley, then you look sexy.